And here we go. So welcome to our concert perspectives. This is our talk back on the WSMR chamber broadcast that we just had. We're so grateful to WSMR during this time to be airing a lot of our concert recordings. And I'm so thrilled to have three musicians with me to talk a little about what you just heard. So first I'd like to introduce Jennifer Takeda, who is our assistant concertmaster. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
I'd like to introduce Samantha Bennett, who is our principal second violin.
Hey, guys.
And then I'd love to introduce our co-principal horn, Josh Horne.
Hello.
Yeah, so I thought to kick it off, since this is the first time we're seeing you in quite a while, I'd love to know what each of you have been up to during quarantine, if you're getting up to anything fun, if you're staying sane. And I thought, since Jen is the first one up on my computer, I'd just go ahead and ask her first.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to report that homeschooling is officially done.
Oh man.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who's more happy about that, me or my son. But yeah, so we finished that yesterday, and I've been doing a lot of baking, and I've actually jumped on the sourdough bandwagon. So I've made probably 6 loaves of sourdough, and I'm really sick of it now. So, other than that, we get out of the house every day. We take bike rides. We just like to get a lot of fresh air, because there are only so many hours of the day that you can stay holed up in your house, you know, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on completing the homeschooling cycle. I do not envy you at all.
It was hard. It was really hard.
Yeah. Samantha, what? Oh, what'd you say, Josh?
Said you're a champ. That sounds hard.
Samantha, what about you? You're next up on my screen.
So I echo Jen in the sense that we've been spending a lot of time outdoors. It's actually really nice just to actually sit on our porch, which is crazy. I never have time to do that. Seems simple, sit on a porch, but usually it doesn't happen, and we've had such good weather. We're also gardening a lot, which is great fun and keeps the connection, the nature connection alive too. But I think our biggest project for this quarantine is a little bit ridiculous, but it's hopefully going to be really fun and worthwhile. And that is, we've been converting our formerly percussion moving only van into a camper van. So we put a solar panel, and we put a full kitchen with like a little propane tank, camp stove, and water supply. There's a water pump. We actually cooked rice in a rice cooker plugged into the solar power in our van the other night to test it out. So hopefully we will be able to take it on some fun adventures. So yeah, that's been a real fun challenge. We've been looking up a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do all those things, and yeah, it's been interesting. It sounds ridiculous, but we're doing it.
Are you going to use it this summer? Like, is it ready to go, or does it still need a few more tweaks?
It's pretty much ready to go.
Wow.
We have to curtain some, like, you know, the standard camper van curtains. You know, we've had to figure out how to do that, which we haven't yet done. But other than that, I think she's ready to go. She's ready to hit the road.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Josh, what about you? What have you been up to?
Pretty much the same. A lot of time at home, a lot of yard work, because it's one of the few things I know I can afford right now. I'm spending a lot of time with my dog. If you'll come over here, Luke, come here. He won't come over here. We go on long. Here he is.
Yay! Oh, awesome! Oh, he's so cute.
Oh, so cute.
You guys actually look alike. You sort of look alike.
I know, I heard that happens after a while. Yeah, we're doing a lot of yard work and walking. We try to walk for at least an hour a day, and I go a little bit farther each time. But aside from that, I've had lots of time to indulge in my more nerdy pursuits, watching all of Twin Peaks right now.
Been doing that.
Dungeons and Dragons has been a lot of fun with my friends, and a lot of video games. Yeah. I'm taking it easy.
Good. I mean, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
Excellent. So just to jump in, I wanted to talk a little about our Chamber Soiree series itself. I think it's so amazing anytime an orchestra has a chamber music series because it's not a given. So I was really thrilled coming into the Sarasota Orchestra to see that we had a series. And I think it's a very special program. I think it's very special in the way that musicians contribute most of the repertoire that's on each and every program. And so since Samantha is the artistic advisory chair, I thought maybe she could speak a little to that because she's had many seasons of experience with it.
Sure. So the way that the Chamber Soiree sort of planning and programming happens is that all the principals and those involved in resident ensemble groups will come together with the members of the artistic staff, music director when we have one, and our other artistic advisors. And we have a meeting that we have in the fall, actually, at the beginning of each season. And all the musicians are sort of invited to provide suggestions for pieces that they'd like to either play or see programmed. We have kind of just a big like family style meeting, you know, all sitting around tables discussing the suggestions that have come in. And those get whittled down over the course of the year for planning in the next season about what really fits together. You know, you like to have balance of length of pieces, time period. Sometimes we come up with themes that are in place that were sometimes the themes come first for a program, and so then we look for pieces to fit those themes. Sometimes the pieces come first and we develop the theme after. But what's really great about Sarasota Orchestra is that it's, especially for the chamber music, is really collaborative, and the musicians themselves have a lot of say in what we actually get to play and who we get to play it with for each season.
Awesome. And then just to jump into the repertoire that's just been broadcast on WSMR, I was so thrilled to see that the Prokofiev duo was on this season. And I have to admit to you guys, that was one of the only concerts I missed. So I was like not physically there for it. So I know, at least I'm owning up to it. I know, I can't believe I missed it. I had to miss it. I missed it for a wedding. So at least it's like a good excuse, but I was hoping you guys could speak a little bit about it and kind of speak to how you decided to do it and how you paired up and where it came from.
I think I've requested that piece for a few years, and maybe it didn't get put in the mix until this past season. But I absolutely love that piece. I've only actually played it one other time, and that was with Chris, my husband. And when we played it back then, I think it was 2015, I was first violin and he was second violin. So I thought it would be cool when Sam and I played it if she were to do first violin and I would do second, because I think, Sam, have you done both parts as well, or?
I hadn't done either part.
Oh, you hadn't done either, okay. Yeah, so I think Samantha actually put in the request for the one this year. So I was super, super thrilled when I saw that was on the roster for sure.
Yeah, me too.
It was a piece that Chris and Jen and I all have suggested in varying years. And I feel lucky that I superseded Chris on this rotation. I got to play with Jen.
He was okay with that, don't worry.
I owe him one.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I'm really curious about the Casella Serenata. This is not a piece that I was familiar with before hearing it. I thought it was wonderful. I also thought the performance was wonderful. And he's such an interesting person. I'm wondering how this piece was put into the repertoire mix and how you guys found out about it.
I think Fernando Traba actually was the one who requested this piece. He is actually really great at coming up with really interesting chamber music pieces that have mixed instrumentation. You know, just by virtue of being a bassoonist and wanting to find pieces to play with people that aren't always wind instruments. And so that was the first we had heard of it, actually. I think for all of us that played in that piece, we had not heard of it or played it before. And it actually has two different versions. There's a chamber version, which we did with the 5 players. And then there's like a larger ensemble chamber orchestra size piece. So that one is much more common. So I think this was one of the few performances of just the chamber version. And as it turned out, it was really a cool piece. I mean, I would love to play that piece again. It's a great instruments. And you get so many different colors and voices and characters. It was a little bit Soldier's Tale reminiscent at times. And yeah, so I thank Fernando for bringing that to the table.
Awesome. And then Josh, I'll ask you about the Beethoven Horn Sextet. Before this concert, I think this is our first soiree. And before that concert, I was looking for recordings of this piece because I didn't know it that well. And I have to say it was hard to find good recordings. I don't know. I think I can get away with saying that because I'm not a horn player. It was just like, it's a really challenging piece. And I was so impressed with how great you guys sounded. So were you like, this is going to be a mountain to climb, or how did you approach this piece?
It was a little scary because it was the first big thing we were playing that season. And second horn, Priscilla Reinhardt, she was actually our 1 year on fourth horn, but due to the vacancy, she filled in on second. She did such a good job. And then she just, I think, the audition was the next day, and then she won the audition. So go figure. No, it was a good challenge. I wasn't extremely well versed in it, so it was fun to learn and to work with her and master it. Last time I played it, I was actually on second, so it was good to switch it up. I thought my part was easier too, so I enjoyed it.
That's interesting. I didn't remember that the horn audition was directly after, but
yeah, I had to confirm. I looked it up on the calendar. I thought that was pretty fun.
So we should give Priscilla a little.
That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
Amazing. So I wanted to ask further to that, if there are any like particularly memorable anecdotes of these performances, or just like throughout the year in particular.
Well, I'll jump in and just say I was talking to Jen about this before, and because it was the Prokofiev duo was just the two of us, we snuck some more creative rehearsing around in our homes. And I was dog sitting once for my mother-in-law, and Bo, the Pomeranian, was very interested in what we were doing. And so he was kind of weaving around in our feet while we were playing the fast movements, which made it a little challenging, but we went out in the end. So that was fun.
I think it helped that he's also pretty deaf. So when we were playing all the loud stuff, he was just totally oblivious to.
That's true. Yeah,
I remember petting him once while he was sleeping there, and I surprised him so bad he jumped up. I felt terrible. He was scared for his life.
Bo is a frequent extra musician, so to speak, whenever we have rehearsals at my house, apparently.
Josh, does your dog?
Yeah, my dog? No, he hates French horn.
Okay.
He's not a fan. He can hear very well, and I don't think he likes it. Sometimes when I play higher notes for too long, he'll start to whimper until I stop. It's pretty sad.
Aww.
But yeah, I enjoyed playing the Beethoven with Priscilla. Like I said, it was our first concert together, and I had played with her. Well, she's been a sub in this orchestra for a long time, and then she finally won her rightful spot. So we've played together, but never on a chamber piece. And this was a cool chamber piece because it's not often that two horns get to sort of take on the solo lead voice role in a sextet, let alone usually, it's like a brass quintet or some sort of wind ensemble, but the horns got to take the lead in a primarily string group, and that was nice.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Good. So I wanted to ask you guys a little bit, looking forward. We're like in this incredibly uncertain time. We don't quite know what's going to happen over the course of the next few months. We just have to see. Of course, chamber music inherently lends itself to social distancing because there's so few people on stage. So hopefully our soiree season will be intact next year. But I just wanted to ask, what are you guys missing about being together as the Sarasota Orchestra, or what are you most looking forward to once the orchestra itself comes back together?
I'll just start by saying I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I really miss the social interactions that we have at work, and our orchestra is really special in that it feels a lot like a family, and we're like literally everybody's friends with everybody. So you've got 70 people in a room who are all just sort of like commingling before rehearsals or at breaks and whatever. And so I really miss that sort of like camaraderie from everybody, because I'm here with Chris all day long, and that can only take me so far.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's just, there's no real way to replicate just the feeling of being on stage with other musicians all striving towards the same goal, artistic goal. It's just something that, even in regular life, the before times, I'll say, was already, for me, I always sort of recognize that as so special, and it's even more obvious, like how much, that adds to life. And so that's just been, an adjustment to not have that kind of outlet, and to be able to like interact with people on that level where you're all thinking about, one singular purpose, and you're all kind of having this communal energy that's focused towards making the performance great. And again, like Jen said, our orchestra is so great because honestly, we really are all friends, like she said, and it does feel like a family. And so it's definitely been an adjustment on that end too, not to have the kind of daily interaction with everybody that we're used to. So it's been different, but it'll make coming back all the more exciting, I think, because everyone will be even more appreciative than we already were, in terms of just like how special everything that we do is. So
yeah, listening to these recordings has been really nice. I remember hearing us play Mahler 1 and realizing that playing this music with the orchestra gives me so much satisfaction and purpose. And like Jen and Sam said, you get to do it with your friends at the same time. I miss it a lot. I hope we can get back to it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think we're all there. We're going crazy. And I can say from the staff perspective, we miss not only like witnessing that chemistry in rehearsal and having all of these guest conductors that are coming in and seeing how like all of these experiences are different, but also that chemistry, that palpable feeling between the audience and you guys. So, and I will just say that we're definitely missing our audience. We're missing our patrons. Yeah. What were you going to say, Samantha?
I was just going to say that's probably even more noticeable in some ways than not being able to play like actually with someone, because now we've been doing projects where you're able to record your part and maybe play with someone else, or you're still listening, but when you're playing to nobody, it just doesn't have the same magic. And I honestly feel, I know for myself, if I'm playing to a room full of people, they actually propel me to get a better product than I could have imagined that I could have done by myself. There's something in that intangible that I've never really understood, and I don't question it because I don't want to know too much. I just know that, in a performance setting, when you're feeling the audience's energy around you, something extra happens for the musician on the other side of the stage. And so that is definitely very strange, not to have that interaction between, both sides of the stage, really, on and off. So.
And that's a big part why our soiree series is so gratifying, is because it's so intimate, right? Yeah. Sit right next to the audience and see them react and listen to the music and sway, and it feels really good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to thank you all so much for being on this panel and for hanging with me on Zoom. I would also do a shameless plug for the Sarasota Orchestra. We have plenty of content through our Music Moves Us campaign. So if you're interested, check out our social media channels or YouTube. You'll see plenty of fun cameos including from Jen and her husband, Chris, from Sam, from Josh with the Horne Quartet, right? So there's plenty of stuff out there. We miss our patrons and we can't wait to be back with you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
See y'all.